recording. I still have push to talk on. Give me a moment. All right, voice activity. Perfect. Okay, so as for the final questions that I had, I guess some of them to an extent were already answered, but this one or these ones are, I guess, a little bit more specific. Uh, Question one. Do you believe the whole time dilation thing is more hazardous than what people are believing, and or their interactions and or behavior is a bit more problematic than what they are thinking they are doing, which is like helping you? To an extent, I guess more along those lines is just I know you've gotten assistance from Chunky and members of the community about the future, but do you think this could have some negative effects?
It's a good question. Uh, I try to be cautious about everything, because you just never really know. Um, the whole butterfly effect thing is the fact that someone is reaching out with information about the future to me, and I'm making decisions informed by that. Is that going to cause things to spiral out of control? I don't know. Maybe I should have thought about that more a while ago, but I, so far things seem to be okay. Obviously, it's been such a short time span that it's hard to say concretely the impact of all of this, but I don't think I really have a choice. The cat's out of the bag. People are here. They're communicating. I don't think isolating is going to help. I'm not sure if interacting will either, but
Yeah.
um,
I understand, I guess to an extent. I've already had my own issues, but I understand to an extent that using the knowledge that you're gaining to try and change things for the better is what you're after. And I mean, Grace and you seem very close, and I do understand your, I guess, I don't know if it's the right word, but desperation in helping her out and or doing what you can, which at the end of the day, unfortunately, that is going to require funding and or money, which if you've gotten assistance from Chunky and or the community about stocks and such, that's I wouldn't blame you for using that knowledge to do what you need to do.
mhm.
Anything else you want to say about that question, or
uh, not off the top of my head.
okay? My other question was already answered to, uh, in the Discord. Quote: Do you believe there are more people within the server who are dealing with time dilation?
Uh, I don't think so. Not outside of
Yeah,
us three. No one has said anything, at least, and I feel like
yeah,
someone probably would if that were the case.
yeah. I guess if someone else is, they're keeping it to themselves, and to my knowledge, the only other people that might be dealing with time dilation are likely, unfortunately, dead, which unfortunate, but I guess to an extent that is also kind of concerning to me cause it's an odd thing to say, but when did they die exactly if they're dealing with time dilation? Cause it's just very confusing.
Yeah, there's so many things that are like crisscrossing every which way, and trying to figure out when things happen for us, and is that relevant to when things are happening for you guys? I
Yeah.
think that's definitely something worth keeping an eye on.
I mean, certain aspects seem to be following, such as COVID-19. Actually, I shouldn't say that because YouTube's gonna like strike me down. Oh wait, that's something you're gonna be witnessing if you frequent YouTube. They don't
Oh
like
no,
they don't like that. They don't like that word and that number together.
that's
Uh,
stupid.
yeah, it's dumb. Um, question 3. Has there been anything else of importance that has happened as of recent, aside from the new video and aside from the virus?
Mhm. Nothing supremely noteworthy. It it really seemed like the dog decided to give you all the spark notes on what's been happening for months now.
Hmm.
Extrapolate that over the course of months, and you've got a pretty good idea of what we've been doing. Um, Another point people asking how I think I'm not exposed is that I noticed all of the footage in that video came from either Grace's computer or Arthur's, and it didn't show anything that I was doing myself or any of that. So I think I am safe. At least it's not in my computer.
Yeah,
Is that?
I'm very glad about that. You just keep yourself safe, cause it like from a perspective of like I guess level-headedness, as long as one member of the group is still of decent sound mind, level-headed and all that, you're in the best position to keep things moving forward even though you might think that you aren't best suited for such a thing.
I got to do what I can.
Yeah,
I think I'm. I guess technically the only person who's trustworthy in a way.
yeah. I mean, I guess to an extent, and this is connecting back to Arthur, uh, Arthur does seem a little out there. And now that's not a problem, of course, but he definitely, to me, seems more along the lines of like he seems more like he's just coming to he's come to terms with it. He seems like he wants to ignore it now. Just ignore it, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of the community are is calling him evil and messed up because some of them are believing that he's either a clout chaser seeking attention and he just got lucky, or he just pawned it off to her because he just couldn't take it anymore. But if it seems like he's still infected and he's being genuine about that, then I can understand the reason why he'd be so hell bent on finding something to do, such as reviving the channel. Cause that I guess looking up different things would be a decent distraction from worse things.
Exactly. I just can't. For the months that I've spent getting to know him and hanging out with him very house, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm not someone who has like a whole bunch of friends or anything. It's like
Yeah,
all
same
the
here.
people I hang out with are online. And of course lockdown. I'm not talking with anyone. It's basically been Arthur because Grace has been so distant. It's like sometimes she may as well not exist almost. And so I've mostly Arthur and Chunky sometimes. It's usually those guys, and it took a while for Arthur and I to even um, get friendly because there was a time where he wasn't really talking to me a whole bunch earlier on, but I think over lockdown,
Hmm. Yeah,
it's been nice, and I just don't want to feel like I've been bullshitted
yeah.
this whole time.
I getcha. I understand. And you got a lot ahead of you, like from my experience, and I had it rough for like the first month of my lockdown.
Mhm.
Uh, had night school, went in one night. It was being talked about barely. And I saw the transition where a bunch of just hand sanitizers were being put and installed into the hallways, and like I used it once, and not even a week later, I had terrible just a lot of peeling and or I guess eczema on my hands, both of them. So
Yeah.
I couldn't even properly associate myself online because they were just so stiff and flaky. It was rough.
Oh, that sucks.
My first month of lockdown was terrible, and I can only imagine how rough it is for you at this current moment,
Mhm.
especially since lockdown's just starting. Things are getting uh really rough. And that aside, you're also dealing with one of your closest friends seeming to just begin distancing themselves greatly. So I I I getcha to an extent at
Thank
least.
you. Mhm.
Um, question four. I think question four. I deleted one of them because they were already pretty much answered. But next question. I think to an extent you already answered this, but a bit more in detail. Have you have you or do you feel that things would have been much better if Nightmind hadn't made a video about the situation? And do you think it would have made things easier if he never made a video?
I wouldn't say that. I think it's sketchy and it kind of has me on edge having all these people. Like I kind of touched on that earlier. Why I'm anxious about that, having all the people around. But things seem okay for the time being. I've kind of chilled out a little about that. I think so far it has been really nice to have people around who are, first of all, very kind. Everyone I've talked to tonight has been very nice, well wishes, very appreciated. You and the mods have all done a great job of handling things, and of course, everyone digging into the website and offering ideas. And it's so easy to get tunnel vision, especially because where I'm at, like, Grace doesn't talk to me very much. Arthur's, yeah, he can be a bit cagey. Like, we usually talk about we, I guess we're both guilty of ignoring things. So having people who have the mental space and well-being to look into these things and offer insight and dig things up has been very helpful. So I do actually appreciate having people around.
Okay. Now, arguably the most important question, in my opinion, and probably a bunch of other people's opinions, how have you been doing? Are you taking good care of yourself? Are you, like, I guess, in a physical state and mental state, are you okay? Are you doing well for yourself?
I I think I'm doing about as well as I had. I can't really complain about my position in life. Yeah, it's stressful, but Grace is dealing with hell on earth, and Arthur is apparently still. I'm sure he has his own trauma relating to this shit, and it seems to be an ongoing problem for him. So I really empathize with them, and I don't think there's anything I can really complain about. Yeah, it's rough, it's stressful when you got people you care about, and it feels like you can't do anything to help them, and you're just sitting there, like I said, running in circles around the maze, hitting your head against a wall, digging at bedrock, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. But whether it's in our hands or not, there's clearly a path set forward because maybe it's weird to feel almost reassured by the fact that the fucking dog of all things has a plan. it seems to have a direction it wants things to go, and if it there's got to be a branching path somewhere, right? Obviously, we don't want to go down its road. It doesn't have our best interests in mind. But if it makes a breakthrough that leads to a soft spot, maybe maybe there's something we can do.
Yeah. There's hopefully going to be some form of silver lining to this. I know, I think a majority of us can already. Not, there's going to be some form of conclusion to this, I'm sure, but the matter that most of us are thinking is how bad will it be? Because I think a majority of the people already know that this this isn't some simple situation that you can like brush off. This is not only one person's life on the line, but it seems like according to the information I've seen, according to Paranormal Prickheads, Ice Cream Monkey fan, there's some really rough events on their way, and I can only assume there isn't going to be a path that completely stops that. I can
Um,
only guess that there's going to be a path where it only softens it. But that's just me, I guess. I'm
no, I think you're right. I think this is one of those things where it's gonna be rough and it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But you know, I think things are, it's like people say things are gonna be all right, but they're gonna be different. You know,
yeah,
that's all I can hope for.
yeah. I just I hope things go a route that isn't bad. Or well, is less terrible than the outcome that we've been led to believe is likely to happen.
You and me both.
Okay. I I mean, someone already asked my personal question that I wanted to talk to you about off record or off recording, so that's already out of the way. Uh, uh, any closing statements?
Um, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. If there's any more detail you want in anything, feel free to shoot.
I mean, unfortunately, I've been dealing with my own issues, both IRL, both online, or both IRL and online, and just a bunch of stuff in general. So I haven't had a lot of time to look into things too complex or complicated, which is why I guess to an extent I guess the public section happened, which I guess if there is going to be another interview with Arthur, I'm going to hopefully get him into a call cuz last time I interviewed him, he kept it purely to DMs, so I couldn't get any vocals from him. One of the questions I asked him, he wanted hidden, which I'm not sure if that's changed at this point. But I intend on trying to interview Arthur again. I'm not sure if it'll work out, but that's a goal. Hopefully, if Grace returns or gets active again, I do want to interview her. But the problem there is, I don't think Grace would be too eager about a public thing or a stage.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Now, as I said earlier on the stage, I have been recording these. Are you fine with me like posting these to YouTube? And if that is the case, is there like a channel name that you'd prefer me to have so it's recognizable?
Um, I'm totally fine with you uploading whatever in whatever state you got. Do whatever you see fit with it. I don't really care about channel name. It's just whatever you think is fitting. I guess it can just be literally anything. It can be
Got it.
whatever.
I think I got an idea in mind. It'll have partially the name, but it's gonna have a big, or it's gonna be changed in a way. It's not gonna be a direct copy
Of what?
of like chainmail chasers. I think I'll somewhat keep or use the name to an extent, like chainmail documents or something. I'll
Hmm.
figure it out.
Yeah, I think keeping that distinction so people know it's a separate thing is good.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Okay. Uh, Thank you for your time, Davey. Uh, I'm sure the community had a lot of fun with this, as well as feel a bit more enlightened. Um, you have a great night. Thank you for your time. No joke. I know
Of
there's a
course.
lot of stress going on, but legit, thank you.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to organize all this and manage everything. And
I mean,
I hope it was
Chunky
helpful for
helped
people.
big time. Chunky helped big time. Not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I would have been lost without his help.
Yeah, big thanks to both of you guys. I really appreciate it. And of course all the well wishes, I appreciate those as well.
You're welcome. Okay. Take care, Davey.
All right. You too.
Bye bye.